My name is Arshagra. I am living in the northwest corner of the state of Connecticut in the United States on the planet Earth. And this is a work from a manuscript project called The Man Womb. I wrote it for this occasion, and it's called Man of Woman. Man of woman, to understand the death of his phallus dominions. He has no rule over her. She is never a gender slave to his ignorant sperm's drive. She is not here to be inhumanity breeding. The only protection he was born to provide is to being, always choosing to breathe his empathy into her. We are soul forms accountable to death, dying constantly. We are here to fall into love learns, to become the equal of her emotional heat, her soul ablaze. She's not here to become slavery in the making, manufacturing worth by mass producing competing worthlessness, as if she must become his ignorance to be equal or free of womb's nature for all. A male is nothing if he refuses to wear the mirror of her living womb. His vulnerability to be his strength is the end of his weak machismo. With or without his merge with true love living, never possessing her choice to choose love, constantly moving into the equilibrium of alive with her. Time dies, love lives. There is no waste of love, lest you waste it on it was here, possible. Alone, he is still given a choice to balance life and death, to share life's high wire with her, not be the sorry waste of every unknown orgasm leading him into rape culture. His possible death, her welcome arms. The air of emptiness comes, leaving no blame. To love beyond debt or debtor, giving her the choice to receive and not take love. Her pleasure is his choice to give his body to her lust's liberty and freed choice, not be ignorant as a full-grown sperm walking a cradle to grave existence, a male occupying no more than the excuse of a man on top of a woman. Man is of woman to earn her wonder.
Happy to be here. My name is Edward Currelley. I'm from Cold Spring, New York, here in the US of A, in upstate New York in the Hudson Valley. Okay, I actually wrote this poem this morning, considering everything that's going on in the world. So I'll start. Rootin', tootin', lying, Putin. The bombs are dropping, the Ukrainians aren't stopping. You can't evict them, they carry their homes in their hearts. You can't evict them. Rootin', tootin', pitiful Putin. You blinded your people, they're in the dark. Beware, closed eyes mean open hearts. Women and children are on the run across borders and into the sun. Rootin', tootin', evil Putin. The veil is lifted, the winds have shifted. The world is watching. You want to be Caesar? Believe me, we see ya. Rootin', tootin', Nazi Putin. There's nothing to be gained. War. There's nothing to be gained from war that has been judged. Bullies can't run, bullies can't hide. Rootin', tootin', isolated tootin'. Beware, behind every Caesar, there's a Marcus Brutus biding time. If I have time, I'd like to read another short one. Is that good? This is called Mud Scrolls. Scrolls rolled in mud, planted to ground. Silent, invisible voices, stories of old told anew, a silent chant of binding all life in one world with one goal, a vision without pain, a version without pain, without suffering, crime replaced by song and joyous shout, pitched only to what the mind's eye can see, what the heart can bear, screams of visceral outpour, ancestral tongues rolled and scrolled, an undeciphered language reaching out, invisible hands eager to touch, to be held, saved, dust of mud curled like fresh grown grass, preserved by sunlight and thunderous storm, the words of righteousness sealed within time-honored earthly sacrifice, the history of humankind layered in the banks of our shores, embedded in the walls of canyons, invisible layers of our existence, voices shouting out, crying out, and singing out in joyful silence. Thank you so much.
Bryan Franco. I live in Brunswick, Maine, and my poem is about one of my favorite goddesses of all time, Ms. Eartha Kitt. It's called All About Eartha. Eartha Kitt, you should have been a Bond girl. Oh, Eartha, you should have been a Bond girl. You could have been a Bond girl, Ms. Kitt, except you would have been a Bond woman. You had a #1 hit with Santa Baby. Christmas was suddenly sexy and a little naughty. Then you made St. Louis Blues. What a movie. You stole the whole show. You stole the show from Nat King Cole. You stole the show from Cab Calloway. You stole the show from Ella Fitzgerald, Pearl Bailey, and Mahalia Jackson. You were ingenue, muse, and femme fatale in one fell swoop. You wore a silk blouse and A-line skirt better than any white woman ever had. White men all across America called their governors and congressmen asking why it was illegal to marry Black women. You were declared to be the most exciting woman in the world. Eartha Kitt was it, and it was all about Eartha. And you became a Catwoman, the last of 3 after Julian Lee. You redefined the role and stole the show. You were the only one who purred in real life. Then you had lunch with Lady Bird and asked her why her hubby was sending the best of this country to Vietnam to be shot and maimed. You made the First Lady cry, not too appropriate, but you were not a lady who lunched. You were a diva songstress who could make a song her own like nobody else. In 1997, I saw you perform at a Boston jazz club. At 70, your legs were Tina Turner perfect. You lay across the piano in classic cabaret style. You sang in 4 languages, even if they were not. Every man in the room became multilingual. And you purred like a stray kitten. You purred like a lioness. You purred like a tigress. You purred like a jaguar that knew she did not have to pounce her prey. And that night, you looked straight into my eyes and sang a song to just me. I know you didn't actually do that, but I was in the same room with Eartha Kitt. And you know what else? I was in the same room with Eartha Kitt. I was in the same room with Eartha Kitt. Gracias, everyone.
Kathleen Hulser, I'm from the Bronx. And since I'm a historian, I thought I would read an excerpt from one of the deep bench of talent in the women beats. It's her name is Madeline Gleason, and then I'll read something by myself. Madeline Gleason's poem, just a stanza that I'm going to read, is called The Interior Castle. The insecurity of the poet is his security. His shambling mental movement towards the moving machine attracts it to idle at the threshold of his unknowing interior castle. So that's just an excerpt from a longer poem, but I thought it was really fab, so I read it. So then something by me. It's called All-Purpose Woman. Ferocious when necessary, armed with subtlety, fixer of lost causes, dazzling upon occasion, blessed with insight, speaker of depths, serene when challenged, ripened with sunlight, bearer of casseroles, swift at honor, doused with justice, composer of harmony, amiable when indicated, girded with scissors and glue, carrier of band-aids, best at hearing, full of grace, explorer of paradox, tender when opened, touched by beauty, finder of joyfulness.
Erine Leigh here from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Beat Poet Laureate of New Hampshire, reading my poem, Women Who Live Alone. Women who live alone meditate. As we move through our work days, we equate dilemmas, problem solve, rejuvenate. We furnish resolve. Women continue to live alone. We choose to fill a void by chocolate and growing flowers, night sweats a dread, wakeful wee hours, stacks of books by the bed. Women who live alone sometimes dream of a perfect partner, his gentle embrace, her strong force, generous kisses on the face. Imagined love runs its course. Women who live alone for centuries have shown fortitude under stress, courage facing rivals, compassionate honesty, a flair for survival. Women who live alone gaze from windows far away. They watch the sky for signs to catch their attention. Nature sends birds, clouds as subtle interventions. Women who live alone bathe in the full moon's rays, merge with her shine, lunar silvers, so fair, ribbons play in their hair. Women who live alone see kindred spirits with whom they freely speak their ways to satisfy yearnings discovered every day brings additional learning. Women who live alone belong as much to the whole as any other family. They have wisdom to give and have but embraced another way to live. Thank you.
Goddess whistle to the low horizon, made whole by the prophet who put her finger in the socket and felt the hum of the universe against all manner of bone. No promise was made, no weapon purchased, no lucky star consulted, no peace was found. All in all, it was the moan of children imprisoned underground in the cold womb of indifference that made her weep. The clouds have their reasons, like rust and roses. That is the difference between love and hate. No change was promised, no soul remembered, no song was heard, no mark was made. She lives in the future that has forgotten the past. All in all, it was the moan of children that made her weep. Goddess whistle to the low horizon. Goddess whistle to the low horizon. And I'll do one more piece here. I'm going to dedicate this next one to my wife. Old-fashioned woman. She thinks for herself. She's not afraid. She works like a dog for the money she makes. And when you love her, she knows what to do. An old-fashioned woman will always be true. She ain't fancy. She isn't too plain. Her hair smells like flowers after the summer rain. She's as tough as the witchgrass, as tender as the dove. She knows about heartbreak. She knows how to love. Old-fashioned woman, won't you be mine? I ain't nothing special. but I'm honest and kind. I'll stand by your side if you stand by mine. Old-fashioned woman, give me a sign. She sees through the bullshit. She can forgive a few flaws. Old-fashioned woman, she lays down the law. There's beauty inside, a heart that's strong. Old-fashioned woman, this is your song. Thank you.
Jessica Brooke from Middletown, Connecticut, and I'm just going to read 2 quick thoughts. You matter. Born strong, born to survive. Lived a life of struggle, yet always plowed through like a stallion on the move. As I fight through life, I realize this. I am meant to be here on earth for a reason, to help others through my words, to spread sunshine with my smile, to brighten someone's day with a simple word of kindness. Giving up was never an option. I will not say never a thought, yet few and far between were those thoughts. Only a few times I felt like giving up. Yet I feel a lot of people do, at least once in life, when the struggle is just too great. So, build the life you have dreamed of. Reach high for goals you may not think you can attain, yet do so and surprise yourself. For one person can make an impact. One voice can cause a season of change. A moment of clarity, become reality, become a way of life. So never think your life doesn't matter. Looking inward instead of outward, at the world as a whole, the path in front of you, an oasis of change. For up to you is the reason, a reason to fight a challenge, fight and receive an answer. That life is worth living, worth striving for, simply worth it. For you, simply matter. Okay, and out of the flames. In the mind of a dreamer, the goals of a winner, materializing success out of sheer madness. Over years of simply surviving, barely hanging on, I was told I would get there to a place of rest. Sometimes I lost faith in myself. I lost faith in God as well. Many times I fell, clawing in muck and mire, flying out of the fire. Nothing was sudden or easy. Struggle was always close behind. I did not see out of the fog, yet I kept plodding on. Help along the way aided me in my journey, yet only I could walk the path. The only way was through. Yes, trauma is permanent, yet now I overcame my past. I realized there was so much more, a higher place to stand after the climb. Wreckage of my past is in my wake, and the conflagration of fury, slaying the demon that plagued me, forgiving instead of dwelling. I believe everyone can reach this point, yet may not see it now. I thought there was no way out, wallowing in misery. Anguish was my close friend. Tears were my release. I still cry to relieve memories I relive. Yet now I feel confident that my future is limitless, for it is possible to smile without lying inside. Yet there will be more failure, for I am realistic, yet also optimistic, that out of the flames rose a goddess. Thank you.
I'm Lori DeRosiers. I live in Westfield, Massachusetts, USA. I'm going to read 2 short pieces today. I dream of wind. In this time of pandemic, my dreamscape has changed from school buildings and beaches to Central Park's new blossoms, tall budding willow trees. I am with my daughters, and the wind is blowing hard, propelling pink and red flowers, big willow branches, debris, and even people into the air. We dip into a shop that connects to a tunnel under the street. I let the girls lead me into some sort of mall where people are trying to interact, their face masks on, their glasses foggy on grim noses. We are safe for now from the wind, the streets above. I wake, and there is the north wind howling outside my window, along with rain, shaking but not destroying the pine and maple trees here in Massachusetts. The next day, I call my girls. to make sure they have not yet blown away. This is simply entitled For A.S., who is my grandchild. Sing slowly the music you heard when you were little, and Mom would hold you in her lap and rock you, because you were a baby and you needed the rocking. Sing softly the music you heard when you were small with your babies, rock them, because they are so little and need the rocking. Sing sweetly the music you heard when you were little. Hold your grandchild in your lap and rock him, because he is a baby and needs the rocking. We both need the rocking, need the singing. Keep rocking, my love. I pass this down to you. Thank you.
For being so patient, and thank you all the goddesses in the International Big Goddess Festival. Thank you, Debbie, Chryssa, everyone. This is called, okay, this is to my goddess, my mother, one of my goddesses. Growing up, mama's fried fish, grits, 5 a.m. Southern biscuits, and love were safety and home. Then something happened at around age 7. They started to visit. I heard voices and saw visions, visitations from spirits of the dead. As far back as I can remember, people used to always point and say, she's not here with us. There's something special about that child, not in a crazy certifiable way. Some called me an old soul, I preferring the company of the elders. In their presence, I experienced kinship and great longing for other worlds I have long been absent from. During these visits, my soul would open up and I would cry out to them. There are times I feel myself drowning and must lean on my God, beloved ancestors, and inner strength to will myself to live. They listen, always refusing to take me with them. It is not your time, they would say, when I pleaded to come with them. Time has passed and my hair has grown white with prayer. I have spent my years piecing together a life, hungrily seeking to recover all that has been stolen, hidden, and lost. My body and spirit at times weary. I understand and know the madness of others who talk to themselves. Daily, we search for signs of kin in the faces and speech of those wearing our skin. Always acknowledging, never damning their whispers. Theirs are the whispers of those who know and do not know, buried beneath foreign shackles. Here she comes, they whisper. She wears white to purify and purple to celebrate the sacred. Some call her a holy woman, living with spirits of those long gone. All is not sadness and longing. There are times I find great joy and revelation when I have met myself. My heart starts to beat rapidly. My head spins, and sometimes I feel as though I am finally breathing. It is here lives ancient home, smells of ocean and recovered blessed memory, colors and sounds of the unforgotten laugh through me. Then there are times when my blood is restless and I am unable to own peaceful sleep, witnessing this ancestral voices calling out to me. We are here, take hold, live in us. We are how you will save your life. I grasp for what has become mother's milk. I suck in color, drum, dance, and bone. My age, that of ancient warriors in sky. My breast pyramids, my birth canal, the Nile. Voices rambling in my head, demanding I tell all. With each telling, my voice becomes their rebirth, promises of hope and freedom. Beloved Do not bury your life. Eat yourself daily, sucking the marrow from your bones. Your liberation, power, and life have never lived, and do not live in your oppressors' blind laws and rape treaties. Do not love nor listen to those who hold your death. Tell all descendants, until you embrace loving self, you will never know home and continue to live without your head. May I read a short one? I have one last short one.
Okay, go ahead.
It's called The Dream. I dreamt of a man once, a man who understood passion, a man like no other I've ever known. He's celebrating manhood with joy, a secure man who liked and loved women, his heart, touch, and words proving this true. A man blind to my years, rejoicing when I smiled or laughed and danced freely. A man wanting nothing more than sincere touch and feeling, not lust-filled stories to share with friends and make comparisons. A man who taught me to love, who taught me freedom, who nurtured and loved me through pain. A man who spoke to my soul, teaching me to laugh when making love. A man who taught me to appreciate myself. A man who always left me life satisfied. A delicious man. One day I kissed his sweet lips goodbye, marrying his body and soul with mine for a last time, praying him eternal love and babies yet born, wanting every joy, promise, and experience for him I could not give. Today, I remain the woman we carved together in love, the woman who thirsts and hungers for breathtaking hugs, tender kisses, tongue-soaked in Southern sweet lemon tea, the Harlem Geechee woman embracing raw passion and truth, believing in life and that all things are possible, who dances and sings to spirit-filled music, who writes, eats, words and dreams of living this poem. Thank you.
My name is Susan Mardinly, and I live in Rocky Hill. And I'm going to read a poem because I cannot be there next week, that hopefully will include everything from today and next week. This is a true poem called The Rose Tree House. It was summer in Boston in the late 1960s. No exit and waiting for Godot. I was cast in a garbage can, waiting for Jack, 20 years my senior. Like Kerouac and Ginsberg, before the big market crash, before the war they said wouldn't happen, and a true beat. I was a little naughty, sitting in the tea house, underage, sipping my Udvash warmed milk laced with cinnamon and brandy, waiting to play grandma in Albee Sandbox. A break being that I look like Joan Baez, everyone said, guitar strung over my shoulder, singing and plucking away at this Charles Street cafe, reading my poems with great drama, my black hair all the way down past my waist, with pierced-styled earrings as large as possible, homemade colored beads over shirts of purple or red and long skirts from India. But I wasn't a hippie. I didn't need drugs to get high. Life before 20 was enough, with a thundering hope for a beautiful future freed from a silent spring, where Zen informed all for peace and equality, where black and white and brown communed together, and the Rose Tea House was a place of comfort for those of us who had a tenuous grasp on reality, when free love turned sour, and the politics of equality was trampled under the obvious greed of its usurpers. That was the year my waist-length hair got caught in the subway. As I ran out onto the platform, I had to cut it off. No more a Baez look-alike or the artist photographer's model. No more the modern dancer or a Rhine maiden. The Liebestod fell into the Charles River. But Jack still loved me, even without my hair.
And I'm Patricia Martin, coming to you from Connecticut, and it's such a delight and pleasure to be a part of this festival and among all these terrific voices. I have two poems that I'd like to share with you today. The first one is a poem of healing. It's called Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene, gods and goddesses watched. They watched as she pulled the sword out from her back and held it up to the sky. Excalibur, from the deep recesses of flesh that long denied a memory too hot to hold. A memory too hot to hold. A memory that burned and scorched the waking cells in her heart. Scorched the waking cells in her heart and in her brain. And in the very depths of her soul, a memory of love that felt more like pain. The love felt like pain as she's learning to love herself. She's learning to love herself. She's loving herself now. And the curve of her back and the curve of her lips and the curve of her hips and belly as they rose and fell with the heat of her breath. They rose and fell on the night when the clouds raced across the moon to see which would collide with the horizon. Clouds racing across the horizon, while Mary Magdalene combed her hair and prepared the oil to wash her beloved's feet. And this second one, thank you. This second one is a total and complete fantasy. Or is it? Throat of the maiden, the predator, he hunts by night, a charismatic player who knows how to win. As he enters the bar, the women eye him, lids fluttering with desire, ripe and ready for danger. It makes them feel more alive. And so they wait, losing themselves in the depths of their wine. The stranger sidles up to the loveliest maiden, leans in, murmurs benign pleasantries, dripping with suggestion. She looks down, flashes a shy smile, and waits for the bait. Touching her elbow, he suggests a stroll in the milky moonlight, then ushers her deftly out the door. Reaching the cobblestone alleyway, one arm swiftly engulfs her. The other grasps her trembling hands, both hearts beating wildly. The darkness swallows them. Winding himself around her body, the serpentine figure fuels her passion. She exhales, reveling to the thrill of his cold touch. Tilting her head back, exposing her throat, his hungry lips and tongue lap her pale skin, and she sighs, knowing what will come next. As he prepares to feast, she unfolds her wings. Her nails sharpen and her lips retract, revealing massive fangs. Spinning around, she pins her male game against the wall, lays her cheek against his, and breathes him in. She then presses her lips against his, stifling his cries, and slowly, so slowly, sucks the life force out of him. It is so very, very easy because men do not know when a maiden offers her throat, it does not mean he can freely feed. Thank you.
My name is Elaine Nadal, and I'm from Connecticut. I will share 2 poems with you. The first one is called Daughter. In my dream, I was a doll on a revolving pedestal, a doll with long black hair wearing a white dress that sparkled like father's cold blue eyes. He taught us how to see the world, a space of suffering with few pockets of joy, with people who love you for a moment and then discard you after you fulfill their purpose. In my dream, people loved me. I was beautiful. My smile was a sunrise reflecting only what I wanted to show. Father was good, he worked overtime. Father was bad. He beat us with belt buckles and pulled our hair. Father was good. He beat us because he wanted to protect us. Mother told on us. Mother was bad. She knew it would get him angry, but she wanted him to love her. In my dream, no one saw me cry. Father hated crying. He said it shows weakness, so he got mad instead. Mother cried all the time. When father came late, and he called her ugly, when he hit her for looking at a man's chest on TV. It was all for our own good, father told us. His mama never beat him, his daddy never beat him. They gave him away. They let him go. Blue notes to wash the soil, blue notes to gather the soil, blue notes to part the sea. I'm looking for a lullaby that can help me fall asleep, a blue light, a blue dream. In my dream, I was lonely as I am now, standing on a rotating pedestal, smiling before an audience, crying when my back was turned. My next poem is called Proclamation 2. I don't need you to find me pretty, don't care if you like my hair. It doesn't concern you if my attire is too loose or too tight. Don't need you to approve of my curves. You can criticize my skin, you can judge. I've got my words, I carry life. Violence, avarice, and injustice walk among us. They divide, diminish, destroy, exchanging hope for fear. Yet feeble eyes focus on the image, the outer layer of the butterfly, neglecting the cocoon for which it came. I don't need you to find me pretty. There's enough ugly in the world. Thank you.